Hey YouTube, it's Magician34, and in one of my greater deck building challenges ever, I've given the people what they want. You wanted a deck built around Gate Guardian, and this is a deck built around Gate Guardian. You may have noticed that I've only got one copy here, because this deck's only running one copy of Gate Guardian. Summoning him once is pretty challenging and will take you a while, so really you only need the one copy. Summoning it a second time would be tantamount to madness, so we're just going to run the one. The point of the deck is to summon him, but we can win in lots of different ways. To summon him, of course, we're going to need the 3 Gate Guardian pieces. I'm running 2 Sangas, 2 Kazajin, and 2 copies of Suijin, which are all 7-star monsters, of course, which makes them a little challenging to get out, but they don't have any restrictions on their summoning, and we're going to take advantage of that. But of course, getting them in your hand, you probably want to get them onto the field, and you may need to buy time for your strategies. So not surprisingly, we're running a couple of Marshmallows to help back us up. It also gives a little bit of burn, which is a nice bonus to help us make our kill a little bit easier. We've also got 2 copies of Spirit Reaper. We really don't need the third. We got a number of other options, and we do target with a number of our own cards, which is bad for Spirit Reaper. So just the 2. Don't want to overdo it. We're running 3 copies of Gravekeeper's Spy. This is basically because it can go get you your second tribute monster if they hit it, especially early games. Say Thunder King Ryo attacks this, they're going to take a little damage back, plus you're going to go summon another spy or something, and there's your tribute fodder for that guardian piece that's in your hand. We also have Gravekeeper's Guard. That way when you have a second spy in your hand, it doesn't, it's not dead, it actually has something to go get. Plus, if you top deck this guy, he's a little bit better than Descendant, especially in this deck, because he's got that nice 1900 defense, and by bouncing one of their monsters when he flips, he buys you some time, which is good. We're also running 1 copy of Dandelion. I'm going to go ahead and tell you we're really going to abuse the heck out of our 3 copies of Call of the Haunted in this deck, and this is a no-brainer target. Helps us tribute someone out of our hand, because those guardian pieces could really stack up like cordwood otherwise. We're also running 1 copy of Sangan. He can get you all kinds of instrumental cards in the deck, and he too likes Call of the Haunted a lot. Now here's an unusual choice, but it actually makes sense when you think about it. We're running 1 copy, just 1, of Vortex Trooper. When you normal summon this guy, he lets you go shuffle 2 cards from your hand into your deck to draw 2 cards. Odds are good you'll have 2 cards you don't need at the moment in this deck, and the 2 cards drawn will probably not be worse and almost surely be better for you in that situation. Plus, anytime he's destroyed, just in any way, he draws you a card. So the normal summon ability is nice, but basically he can be another target that you can call out of your graveyard. Say they MST the call, basically. If you don't need the Sangan or whatnot, you can always just call for this guy. He comes back, they destroy the call at resolution, then call destroys Vortex Trooper, and you draw a card. Nice. So you didn't end up losing anything. So he's quite useful for that. I mean, if all else fails, you can just set him and let him run him over, and you draw a card that way. We're also running 2 copies of Effect Veiler. A lot of the more dangerous things that will be on the field once you get a Guardian piece out is monsters with monster effects, and Veiler stops that and helps your Guardian pieces stay intimidating and alive. Because most people will not attack them for fear of their ability, because it's pretty crushing. Not only do they lose their monster because their attack drops to 0, but they're also going to take all the damage for the attack of your Gate Guardian piece, which is going to be 2,000 something. Pretty hefty. Most people are pretty scared of that, obviously. We're running 3 copies of Pot of Duality. We do have some special summons in the deck, but most of them can take place during your opponent's turn, or it's not a big deal if it waits another turn. The search power of Duality far outweighs any drawbacks it has in this deck, so we're definitely going with 3. We also have Foolish Burial. This is going to allow us to bury a Guardian piece so that we can call it or some such thing. You can also use it to go bury that Dandelion too. Monster Reborn, super gigantic no-brainer in this deck. Now, even though you're trying to make the Gate Guardian just because that's the cool theme of the deck, don't be afraid to use this, of course, to get other stuff, to make utility, build stronger monsters to keep your opponent held down, or just get those Guardian pieces to beat them down because they're still just good beat sticks. We're also running 2 copies of Forbidden Lance. Your Gate Guardian pieces don't need to worry about their size especially. So what's cool is you can shrink them without much fear to keep them safe from threatening cards like, say, Dark Hole, for example. So it's a nice way to keep your guys alive. You can also protect them from stuff like Torrential and whatnot. And it can also shrink opposing monsters down if they decide to do the attack twice thing, kind of try to bite the bullet on the damage. They can attack once, lose to the Guardian piece effect, and then when they attack a second time, boom, you can lance it and they still lose, and then they end up losing 2 monsters plus a titanic amount of damage. So it's got some cool tricks, plus you can keep your marshmallow alive, stuff like that. We do have Dark Hole, obviously play it carefully, but there will be lots of chances for you to play this with little or no consequence. Heavy Storm, be careful with call, but odds are good you can fire it without your call going off. Play it wisely. 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon to try to keep your big monsters actually sticking to the field rather than just getting negated and whatnot. We also have 3 copies of Waboku. We're running Waboku over Threatening basically just because we have Marshmallow and Gravekeeper's Spies, which like to get flipped. So kind of a no-brainer there. Vortex Trooper also likes cards the like of Waboku and whatnot. Of course, we're running 3 copies of Call of the Haunted. This is a great way to use your Guardian pieces, bring them back, and all your nice utilitarian monsters like to come back with these as well. We have 2 copies of Metal Reflect Slime. It's a great tribute material, but also it's just a 3,000 point wall, which can be very difficult for people to get over. And it's also a good save if they, say, Torrential or Dark Hole your field and then try to swing through. This thing can block large assaults, like, say, Chaos Dragons have a hard time getting over this. So it's just a very useful card you can run. And last but not least, we are running 1 copy of Solemn Judgment, just as a general catch-all. Pretty big card for this deck because we're a little fragile in what we're trying to accomplish. The extra deck, there's lots of room to experiment with. These are just kind of the ones I went with. Sinking for 8 is kind of the easy way to go because all your Gate Guardian pieces are level 7, and your only tuner in deck is Effect Veiler. So generally speaking, you're probably going to be sinking for 8 or so, I'd say. Stardust Dragon, Scrap Dragon. We do have Colossal Fighter. You can count on one hand with extra fingers just how many warriors are in this deck. So he's almost always going to be at 28, which is great. It allows him to hit all those 2,800 point monsters and then attack again, like, say, Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Bam, kill it. Colossal hits the yard, comes right back, bam, again. But if you do actually summon your Gate Guardian and then he gets destroyed, wouldn't it be awesome to attack with Colossal Fighter into something bigger? When Colossal dies, bring back Gate Guardian in his place? That would just be amazing. That would be awesome. That's a play I think everybody wants to make on some level. We also have Red Dragon Arcfiend, just a good way to plow through stuff. Good raw muscle. We have Thought Ruler Arcfiend, nice life recovery, and the spell trap proofness is nice. We have Black Rose Dragon. Brynak, you're unlikely to be able to make him, but Monster Reborn can help with that. Cataster, because we have some 4 stars and sinking for 5, he's a good monster that's hard to kill. Speaking of things that are hard to kill, Scarred Warrior. Magical Android gains us a little life, and she's the biggest of the 5 stars. We do have Armory Arm, because that's your 1-star tuner plus 1 of your 3-star monsters. This can do some cool tricks with Call of the Haunted and Monster Reborn, so it's worth running. Maestroke the Symphony Djinn is my one of my rank 4s. He's my defensive rank 4 of choice over Utopia because of all the mind control, Utopia Ray tricks people are doing. Plus he can go offensive with his little Book of Moon style effect right there. We also have one Wind Up Zenmeister just because he can flip your Gravekeeper monsters for extra uses. Wind Up Zenmain, we can exceed for 3, but we're not really excited about it. But if we did, he'd be one of the things we want. And we also have Leviair. He can go get like a Marshmallow theoretically if things happen in the right way. So, I mean, he could be useful. And there you go. That is the deck. That is the Gate Guardian deck. And you should try it out, at least for casual play. It's a lot of fun. And until next time, like, comment, subscribe, and check out my channel for more cool gaming content.